I'm Ed Amoroso from Tag Cyber. I want to welcome you to our discussion. Today I have one of the industry's great leaders, Guy Bejerano, who runs SafeBreach, and we're going to ask Guy about validation, about continuous validation, about optimizing the ROI on your controls and how you communicate that. A lot of really important themes that I think CISOs will find and CISO-led teams will find very relevant. So, hey, Guy, welcome to the discussion. Thanks for making time today.
Thanks, Ed, for having me. Always
Oh,
great
you
talking to
bet.
you.
You bet. Hey, Guy, why don't we start? Just give us a real summary of SafeBreach, and then we'll get into some of the tech and security issues.
Of course. So, on a high level, SafeBreach is a software solution that actually brings the attack to enterprise organizations. We've developed a platform that enables enterprise customers to actually execute real attack methods against their defenses. So they'll be able to measure their effectiveness and understand if they're, susceptible to any real threat, and then to take this information in order to improve the current defenses that they have. So kind of like an immune system working continuously to improve your security posture.
That seems like one of the big advances. And so when you and I first met, I know it was about posture. Now it really seems like it's about action, like about how do we translate a lot of this visibility into doing something useful. Do you find that to be a big theme with your customers?
Oh, absolutely. I think that customers don't just look to know about more gaps, but actually to solve them and to resolve them. And the idea of really looping back this information into the security control creates huge advantage. And I think, kind of one thing that the industry is not really praising enough, we're protecting our own playground. So, we set the rules and we should be able to modify the rules. And by understanding how the attack is working and actually introducing that back into the security control, provide a lot of, a huge advantage in order to prevent most of the attacks out there.
Guy, we're filming this at the end of 2022 into 2023, and there's a lot of discussion across the entire world around the economy and around people's budgets. I think this is the perfect time for people to be going in and making sure that they've made the right investment. Tell me a little bit about how your platform helps people kind of go in and dig in and really get a sense of whether their investments are running optimally. That seems like a good thing to do now. How does your team address that topic?
So yeah, absolutely. I think people that knows me, knows it for a long time. I'm been preaching about the fact that the industry is broken,
Yeah.
and I was a CISO myself for many years, and the fact that security teams are literally required to buy more security tools every year without really utilizing what they currently have, it's not a good strategy. So, I always say that buying more tools doesn't buy you more security, and the ability to really leverage a platform like SafeBreach in order to understand the efficacy of your controls really sets you in a course of not just increasing your budget in buying more technology, which brings more complexity and other challenges, and actually leverage what you currently have. So if we think about in terms of ROI, I like to think of a CISO more as a CFO when they come to the board meeting, the boardroom, in a sense of being predictable and provide risk prediction based on data and not hand waving. So when we think about increasing your return of investment, you want to make sure that all the tools that you've purchased to date are actually working as expected. The only way to know that is to introduce them with the attack. Now, you don't want to do that waiting for a real attack to happen. That's when SafeBreach is coming in, and you're able to really test your controls anywhere from your endpoint, network, cloud, all the way through the entire ecosystem, and know exactly where your controls are really effective, what gaps they have. And sometimes it's not about your configuration, but might be something that the vendor actually missed. So it brings a lot of advantage to the security team to tweak all their systems to get everything out of them, so top utilization, and also increase the level of, let's say, intimacy with their vendors, asking and demanding for the right things within the products.
We moved a long way from doing that type of thing once, maybe like once a year, once and done, to something that's ongoing. Has that been an important sort of advance in this area, kind of continuous automation around this? Help me understand how that has evolved.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. From my days as a CISO, we had a red team with, we leverage pen testing and some kind of point solutions that helped
Yeah.
us a lot in understanding our gaps. A point-in-time solution is a bit problematic when the challenge is dynamic and changing. And what the continuous motion that an automated platform like ours provides is actually the ability to control the time element. So your exposure time is most critical. In order for organizations to be able to cope with most of the attacks, they need to first of all know about them, know and understand the gaps. Then it gives them the ability to act, to take action. And by running a platform like ours continuously, you'll be able to be the first person to know that you have a problem and to take action versus waiting for something to happen. And if you test your controls every quarter, every year, then your gap, time gap is too big to actually take as in terms of risk.
Another big thing that's changed is that senior executive teams, sometimes even boards, have been demanding information here. So sometimes appropriately, sometimes not. Definitely executive teams do need data. I often wonder, whether boards even know what to do, but they're all demanding information. They want it to be data-based. Is that something a lot of your customers ask about, like the ability to report on the efficacy and return of the investment? I'm guessing that must be an important use case.
Well, I think it's a major use case, definitely. In order to build the right strategy and to drive the organization to the right direction, there has to be a connection between the business goals of the company and how security supports that. The advanced CISOs understands that, and what they're doing, they're actually modeling the threat scenarios within our platform to get real empirical data. So really understanding their level of risk and report, with that to the board. And we can take, for example, one of our customers, a major airline, and one of the risks that they're trying to protect against is downtime to their booking system. So obviously, an airline that doesn't allow customers to book flights has a major impact on their business. And we will help them by modeling this threat within our platform and actually attacking all the defenses that try to protect the booking system. And now they have a great narrative when they come to the boardroom. They don't talk about vulnerabilities. They don't talk about phishing emails. I know a lot of for many years CISOs have been talking about those elements, and now they're talking about what are the actual scenarios that will impact our booking system in this case, and what do we need to do in order to prevent that? And what's the dollar amount associated with that? What's the risk we're taking as a company? It's an all different discussion. All of a sudden, now the CISO is really relevant, in driving the business. This is one element. Another element is M&A. A lot of our customers have multiple M&A activities, and they're leveraging SafeBreach in order to baseline new acquisitions and actually help them to negotiate terms because they're finding gaps ahead of time. So they're not being surprised, and they're part of the business team all of a sudden. So that's another element that really, we see a lot comes to the boardroom. And getting the CISO to be more and more relevant in a sense of providing the right data set so they can talk about the business impact versus talking about, again, vulnerabilities or, kind of end waving elements of security.
But when you're developing these attack scenarios, are you doing them on your own? Are you using like MITRE ATT&CK or different frameworks? How does one go about building relevant scenarios to embed into the platform?
Yeah, and actually, it's a great kind of a connection also to the boardroom because sometimes the questions are, around those threats that are,
Yeah.
making the headlines, and people, heard
Ransomware.
about the latest ransomware. Everyone talks about that. So we have multiple ways of creating that new attack content. First of all, we're relying on our own patent technology that we've created that enables us to actually build that content on the fly. We're the only vendor today in the market that provides real SLA. So whenever there's a new ransomware or new permutation of an attack, we provide that in 24 hours because we're leveraging our framework to create and automate a lot of this content creation. And we also have APIs to threat intel platforms. So we enable our customers to really connect SafeBreach to their threat intel, whatever they're using, and weaponize threat intel. So all of a sudden it becomes, from a PDF, it goes into, okay, those TTPs and IOCs will now be automatically created as attacks within SafeBreach, so you can really test your controls against them. So that level of SLA and time to market with new threats, I think, is becoming more and more important, and CISOs realize that. So we're pushing really hard to have that content always ready.
Has the kind of evolution to cloud-based infrastructure with containers and distributed workloads, has that been something that you guys have been able to extend your technology to cover?
Oh, absolutely. We've decided a few years back that cloud, is part of our core strategy.
Mm.
And it kind of goes into different elements and paths that we've taken. So first thing is to build a platform that actually can sit within every cloud platform. That's what we've done. Within your container-based infrastructure, any other virtual infrastructure that holds today in the major cloud platforms, and then to have the relevant attacks to try and bypass those controls. This is one element. Another element is the increased usage of cloud services. And again, through that, we've created a platform that can API to your AWS accounts, to your Azure accounts, and actually test controls around, or the efficacy of the controls around your configuration and also your vulnerabilities in the cloud. We're integrating with cloud security platform like CSPMs and others in order to actually sync and match between our attacks and the configuration and the vulnerabilities that they see. So definitely we see cloud as a major factor of growth. We do help customers not only to the mature customers that already have a major cloud interface and presence, but also to customers that are thinking about cloud and their strategy, and actually help them to test what is the right cloud approach in terms of security. So are they setting the right controls along the way as they'll build and expose more of their services out in the cloud? So definitely.
That's awesome. Guy, I've read that you guys have made some nice partnerships lately with big, powerful companies. I mean, you are one as well. Give us a little sense of what it takes to get those partnerships in place. And I assume that that results in a real nice integration for customers. But how do you guys go about the partnership work?
Absolutely. So I think I'm a big believer in an ecosystem. I don't believe that security can be treated as a siloed capability. And part of that strategy, we're looking to work with the big platforms out there that most customers are using today. So anywhere from Palo Alto to Microsoft and other major players in the market. And what we've done is we've integrated with most of their products. So it gives our customers the ability to really correlate the data that we're generating, our attacks, with what the controls actually see and do. So, for example, if we try to deploy a malware on an endpoint, you want to know that your endpoint solution actually picked that up and try to prevent this action from happening. The same for if we try to execute a ransomware on a machine. We want to know that your EDR will do the right action, goes to your email systems, goes to your cloud and the rest of the vendors. And what it did through time, actually, it brought a lot of those security vendors to SafeBreach. So today, many of them are actually customers of ours because they really understood the value of understanding, their blind spots. So they're using us to really improve their solutions, which I think is, great for the overall industry. That type of value. And the other element is for them to test their own internal controls. It brought a lot of partnership opportunities. So today we're partnering with Palo Alto, with Microsoft. You can find SafeBreach within your Azure evaluation system. So if you're running Microsoft Defender, you'll be able to test your Defender deployment against SafeBreach attacks. And Microsoft developed this integration into Azure. And we're working with the services around, Palo Alto, so Unit 42 and everything around that. We're big believers that, that level of synergy is required in the market because it's a highly saturated and a very siloed market. So we're trying to bring it all together.
That's fantastic. Guy, for people who are watching who might like to POC or try out SafeBreach, what is the best way for them to be in touch with your team?
The best way is to go to our website and to get immediate action on seeing a demo and try out the product. Yeah, we're ready for that.
Well, I hope people watching will take the time to be in touch with you. I think that this is the perfect type of solution for a time when we really need our security to be working and also to be cost effective. Not everybody's doubling their budget right now, so it makes sense to really optimize your investment, optimize your ROI. So I hope you guys keep up the good work. It's good for our industry. Please keep doing the great work you're doing, and thanks for spending some time today. I always enjoy chatting.
Thank you, Ed, as always.
Wonderful to see you. For everyone else watching, we'll see you next time.